Hello, my name is Prem, and I'm talking from the United Nations University Institute for Water, Environment and Health. This tutorial is about data entry into the SDG Policy Support System 2017. I'm going to assume that you've read the user guidelines. If you haven't, please go to our website and download them now. How do you get data from your tools into this system? I'm on the home page here. Let's look at the capacity component as an example. When you click on a component from the home page, you will land on the resources element for that component. However, along the top, there are these buttons which take you to the different elements for each component. If you click on the button that reads Enter Data, you will be taken to the questionnaire page. Now, to know which questions have been included, on the resources page, you will see this column, which will tell you which questions have been included or not included in this particular version of the PSS. You can see there are no's or yeses. You can also choose to see just the no's or just the yeses from the drop-down menu. When you see a yes next to a question or an indicator, that is an indicator or question that will be reflected in the questionnaire. The questions are relatively simple to answer. Sometimes there will be a slider which you can move with your mouse. Please note that clicking anywhere on the slider will not move it. You have to pick it up and take it with you to move it. Most of the other questions can be answered by clicking radio buttons. We've tried to make the answers as standard as possible so that there will be little confusion. Generally, the same questions are repeated for each target and indicator. Let's go back to the resources element. When you've entered data, the next button along is See Data. Now, although you can change your answers on the questionnaire, you can enter data and you can take data away from the questionnaire, you can't do anything on this data page itself unless you have the password. However, you can look through all of the data that you've already entered. You can check out some patterns and you can discuss things in detail. You will notice that there are some light blue columns. This means that the information is automatically translated into the summary view. You may recall that the summary view has 3 or 4 subcomponents that are measured. And when you see a light blue column in the data sheet, this is what is reflected in the summary view. So let's go back to the resources element. You can see which questions and indicators have been included. You can enter data on the Enter Data button, and you can see data to visualize your answers on the See Data button. If you like, you can also go back to the summary view page to see how changing your answers has changed any of the information in the subcomponents. And these will be reflected as inadequate, adequate, significant, or no evidence. Going back to the whole page, for any of the components that you go to, you will simply follow the same steps. For example, if we look at policy and institutional strengthening, you will land on the resources element. If you go to Enter Data, you will arrive at the questionnaire for this component. Sometimes there will be questions that require you to type in an answer. For example, in this box, this question asks you about lead ministries or institutions for each target under SDG 6. You can just type in an answer here. And when you go back to your component, when you go back to your See data page, you will see your answer reflected in the See Data page. Again, these changes can be visualized in the summary view. So, just to recap, when you go to any component, you will land on the Resources page. Select Enter Data, and you'll see the questionnaire. Go back to Resources and select See Data, and you will visualize all the data that you have already entered into your questionnaire. You can also usually see in light blue which of the data are reflected in the summary view. If you have any questions, please contact UNU-INWEH.